Hey everyone, welcome back to 3D6 Down the Line. This is episode 70 of the Halls of Arden Vul Megadungeon by Richard Barton using the old school essential system by Necrotic Gnome. My name is John. I am your referee for the evening, and going around the horn we have...
Hi there, everybody. My name's Mike, and I'm playing Brother Lothar. He's a Whisking cleric of Odin, y'all.
Nice. Normally we would have David playing Upior, Whiskin Magic User 1, but he is absent tonight.
Oh, that's me. I'm Matt. Tonight I'm playing Wolfhog Cheek. Damn it. I'm a first level barbarian and ready to knock on a few doors politely.
Hi, everyone. I'm Ted. Tonight I will be playing the role of Mortis J. Gobliano, except no substitute.
Excellent. Okay. So that is the group tonight. It is the 7th of Gelenios. Is it about 2:50 in the afternoon? Currently, the party, which in addition to the PCs here, also includes Njal Oakheart, Samantha the Red, and the giant four-arm baboon Trefko, are all in Sir Simonet's previous hidey hole, south of the Beastman area, where he had holed up after being waylaid by the fear elemental. And but it appears, and you guys had gone down there to see if he might be around, because the Beastmen were looking for a sun-scarred knight to be in residence with them to help advise them as a faction. You thought Sir Simonet would be perfect since he's right there, but it looks like he has packed up and left. And in the wake of his leaving, the stone chest that was in that room was still there, and you decided to use Trefko to brute force the explosive runes on top of that chest and blew everything up that was inside. So you are currently standing in the midst of the room, and there is a huge smoking ruin of this chest, and there is a huge amount of ancient silver pennies which are scattered on the ground.
I wouldn't say we blew up everything, John.
Just the stuff that could be blown up.
Pretty much,
Well,
yeah.
so, to that point, someone on the Discord mentioned scrolls should get a save.
Yeah, guess what? No. Also on the Discord, I explained why they did not get a save.
And selectively reading the things that he wants to read.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't think John had answered when I read that, and I didn't come back to it. So there you go.
Well, never read stuff that you don't want to read.
Yeah, no kidding, right? All right. So let's see here. I have recorded that we found.
So there are
350 are silver pennies.
Correct.
No, 350 gold pieces worth of. Oh, they're worth a gold each. Is that it? What it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we found 2 ruined cups, which are probably worth a little bit of something for raw material, and a platinum and jade necklace, which was also destroyed. And we also have some kindling for our next campfire.
Yes.
So yeah,
Okay.
the jewelry is worth a little bit less than it normally would be undamaged. The coins are still good to go. So the way it works with Arcantian silver pennies specifically is that it's actually very, very easy, because it's almost both in weight and in value. They are exactly the same as modern GP, which makes it very, very easy. So if I say 350 silver Arcantian pennies, that means 350 gold pieces normally. They're about the size of like American dimes. So they're much smaller than like a modern silver piece. So it's like the opposite of an Arcantian gold piece, which is much larger than a normal gold piece, right? And they are worth 10 times the amount of a normal one. So in other words, they weigh. So if you want to collect all 350, it will take up 3 slots.
Okay.
And then it is worth 350 gold. It would take 2 turns to collect them all because they are scattered everywhere.
Worth it.
And lodged in the wall.
I have a large sack and enough slots that I can carry it.
Okay, so you're going to take your time to collect all that. Do you want to collect the remains of the jewelry?
Yeah, of course.
Yep.
Sure.
Okay, so the platinum and jade necklace, which is a little bit beat up now, normally would have been worth 275 gold. It is now worth 200.
It's still pretty good.
Yep.
And there are 2 heavy silver goblets that were each worth 25 gold. They are now worth 15 each.
You guys want them?
Yeah, bring them.
Yeah. Why not?
Who's carrying them?
I can carry them. Are
Yeah.
they,
So
are they a slot each? Or?
each goblet is a slot. Unfortunately, the necklace is no slot. And I think that was it. Yeah.
I mean, if we have the available slots, then we should. But if we don't,
I got them.
we could probably leave them.
Yeah.
Right, guys.
And are the remains of the scrolls like really seriously? There's just no reading them at all.
Nothing
we
left.
Can't get half the spell off. Okay.
Nope.
All right. Well, then we won't. Oops. We won't carry that. Fine.
Okay. So you spent
Back
two.
to-
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. I was just going to say, we're going to make our way back to the Debouche room. We're going to then reset, right? We're going to go back there, reset, and then make our way to our next plan.
Yes.
Okay. So if you backtracking all the way to the Debouche is going through well-traveled territory for you guys. So you are more than welcome. If you don't want to be careful, you can move 3 times your speed. Do you want to do that?
I think
would
so.
say-
Except for the room with the fear monster.
We're right by the fear monster, and then right through the gargoyles. We should be careful, but after that, we're fine.
I'm down with that.
Okay. So who's the slowest? Anyone moving at 60?
I'm still at
90. I'm at 90.
90? Okay.
Wolford, even with these slots, he's still at 120, so he's good.
Okay, so moving relatively quickly, you can backtrack the safe way that you basically came through here. It's going to take about 2 turns to get back to general goblin territory. So now it is 3:30 in the afternoon. As you go up that northern passageway that leads back to the barricade room, you pass by the Beastman outpost, right? That was there on the west side where you met with Scleros, and the sheep-headed Beastmen greet you as you kind of pass by, and they wish you the best of luck in your new role as ambassador on your journey back to the goblins.
We also asked them to pass on to Sir Scleros that this Sunscarred Knight that we knew where he was is no longer there.
Okay.
So we will keep an eye out for another one as should we cross paths with one.
Okay. Yes, sir. Right away, sir. Okay. So you pass through the barricade room. You come out into the east-western hallway, which connects those 3 very strange rooms with the mist. The magic mouths speak their words once again, and you walk back into the Debouche, where all sorts of activity is continuing unabated. Got
All right.
all sorts of goblin activity, plus all of the AV club is busy doing their downtime stuff. So like Breggy and Avaricios are both like doing manual labor, banging and hammering and all that sort of stuff with some goblin help. And then Titus and Holden are both like huddled over books that are laid out before them in Blondveig's old chambers, and they're studying away.
Did Gangrene get my new room cleaned out yet? Or is he still...
When did he do that? Like a couple hours ago?
Yeah, not that long.
So he's probably in the midst
Bug
of doing
guts
that.
out.
Okay. All right. I tell him he's doing a good job.
No problem, but happy to do it.
Yep. And should we leave this stuff we just picked up?
Yeah, let's leave it in the stash.
Put it in the stash? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I will record it as being in the stash.
Except for the book that David found. We had discussed just kind of giving it a read over and trying to see if there was anything, especially related to the Arms of Thoth statues in there that might give us a clue about what those things do.
You're telling me that you only want information about the arms for now? Or
No, I want to try and get as much information out of it as possible. I do speak Mithric.
Well, remember, we also had like 2 sources of that, right? Like we had in our stash that I think Titus was working on.
Okay. So you want to do the book thing now?
I think we do the book thing now, John, and then we rest overnight, and then first thing in the morning we go down to Goblin Town and go pitch the Beastmen for the king.
Okay, I'll stop tracking time then if you're going to plan to spend the night here. All right. So
which book are you talking about, Mike? The one we already had, or this one we
need to cross-reference the one we already had with the one that David found in that solo play that he did.
I see what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying? Because one is we had the liturgies of Thoth, like that is one book, and then this book that David found was explaining stuff about them.
Right.
The way I understood it.
Liturgies.
So you have 3 works, one way or the other, that are related to Thoth or the church. You have the practical liturgies of Lord Thoth. You have Thoth in all his forms. And you have the Canticle of Revelation. All right. So the practical liturgy. So what David found was much more of like a folio that was sort of like this sort of weird. Remember how it sort of had like the little, this is the property of, was it Eustachius or whatever, something like that, right?
Yeah.
And it was like a broad overview, right, of what the liturgies sort of contain. But now you have from the past, from Isocritus' library, you actually have like the practical liturgies of Lord Thoth, the actual heavy descriptions of them. So first of all, it's noteworthy that the Litany of Light, which you have seen referenced as a number of times as a key to a number of rituals in the Church of Thoth, is not included in this work. No. So the Litany of Light is something that you do not have. However, there is some very interesting information that you are able to glean in Mithric from this work. One is that there is some information on what is called the mysteries of Thoth. And these draw your eyes because when it's explaining what these mysteries are, you're like, wait a second, I recognize that. And there is this particular passage that says, in all seats of Thoth's power, construct in glory of him structures reflective of his mysteries, knowledge, purification, and eternal power. Consecrated thusly, a divine pneuma shall shroud all, that the Lord's servants may awe and inspire. And then it goes on, but basically what it sums up is that these three mysteries of Thoth are also associated with time. Knowledge is associated with past. There's a note that says the acquisition is always difficult and often painful. Purification, which is associated with the present. There's a note that says, you drink the consecrated water and all ills will be washed away. And lastly, eternal power is associated with the future. Through the magic of teleportation, let those who witness a servant's ascent conclude that Lord Thoth calls his faithful to his bosom. Is what you see in that.
Can I just make a point real quick, John?
Mm-hmm.
Those three things, and then the three weird rooms. One is a teleportation thing, which aligns with the power. One is a ask the question, but be prepared for the consequences, which is the one with the obelisk and the pews. And then the third one, it said drink from the waters and all your ills will be cured. And that's the room that we've never actually been in because there were a bunch of goblins scrubbing their asses. So it's like 1, 2, 3. And John just listed the three things. What do you want to bet that there's like a connection there?
We have seen healing pools before.
And also observe the line. Consecrated thusly, a divine pneuma shall shroud all, that the Lord's servants may awe and inspire.
The mist. Plus, we saw mist in the Hall of Heroes.
Yeah, it was orange there. I remember.
Yeah, that came out of the ibis's mouth.
Yeah.
So the and another section of the practical liturgies, there's a note about the holiness of Ma'at and her feathers. And it is noted. Remember, these are liturgies that the priests of Thoth are supposed to speak, right, or supposed to intone. So there's a note for the priests that says that the feathers, the feathers that are blessed by Ma'at, are only effective in the immediate environs of a temple consecrated to His holiness.
Ooh. Does it say anything what the actual properties are of those feathers? It's clear that Ma'at is heavily involved in like the actually, I'm not actually sure of that, so I shouldn't actually say it, but the feathers repel undead. Ooh. We didn't notice any effect with that though when we just came up across the ghouls last time, right?
We weren't in a temple.
Mm-hmm. It's the vicinity of the temple. Like, what does vicinity mean?
Immediate environs.
Okay.
Yeah. So looking at this Debouche Mott level, we got the Mott feathers there in that north room. but there could be any. I mean, there's that temple off to the west, but I doubt that's consecrated anymore. What was Set having rubbed his poop all over it? And
You've heard from numerous people that to the west of the Ma'at Feather Room were crypts that were supposed to be riddled with undead. And indeed, one of your first journeys down here, you had skeletons that came from that general area.
Yeah.
And then there's a couple more interesting passages from the practical liturgies. One just strikes your interest because you recognize the passage, the actual passage that is quoted, because it is the passage that is spoken by the Thothian magic mouth by the barricade. It's exactly the same thing. It says, "Behold the glory of Thoth. Mysteries of past, present, and future are known to those who speak his name and direct his arms. Knowledge is power." Okay, that's what the mouth has been speaking over and over again, and that is also written again in the practical liturgies. And lastly, from the practical liturgies, a passage called "The Gift of Wisdom." The quote is this: "Whilst standing before a representation of Lord Thoth and invoking one of his secret names, offer up to him a work of arcane knowledge in a worthy vessel. Thusly shall the Lord smile upon thee and grant thee wisdom."
Oh.
Arcane knowledge in a worthy vessel.
That feels like sacrificing a magical item for some sort of effect.
Or a scroll.
I was going to say scroll myself. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
scroll would definitely.
There is in the debouchement that Thoth that's standing there. He's standing on like a box or a chest or something. So you could maybe put something in that. If it opens, you get the arms right. You pop it open. You put a scroll in. Plus 10 was.
Yeah, and remember that was the one where the goblins put the wrong, like they put a holy symbol of Set in there, and it blew up like a fireball. I thought I was going to be super clever, and I put a holy symbol of Thoth in there. Didn't do anything, but this sounds like more like what it's in line with. You put some magical knowledge in there, scroll or something. This sounds like something one of our lovely wizards might benefit from.
Okay, so that is
Ted,
what
I don't think it would be a plus 10 to it wouldn't be a plus to a wisdom stat. Maybe it could be.
That was.
I know it's wishful thinking, but I mean, it's like I think it's far more likely that it would be like a question answered or something like that. So
yeah, no, I think you're right. But man can dream, can he? Because I don't have much wisdom. I could use.
So that's what you glean from that's what you glean from the practical liturgies. Moving on to Thoth in all his forms. You don't get as much information from these last two books. So the practical liturgies was loaded with interesting stuff. But Thoth in all his forms. Let's see here. It's pretty dry because it's basically all it really is an alphabetical listing of all of his known incarnations, like Aardvark, Baboon, Colossus, Yak. It just goes like all through.
Names?
It gives you 4 of the secret names, which I think you've already written down. Font of Magic, Giver of Words, Thrice-Born Linguist, and Light of Comprehension. So 4 of the 7 are there. And you notice too that there's like artistic representations of all of these incarnations of Thoth. You know that what you glean from seeing all of these representations of Thoth is that what appears to be the most aesthetic representation of him is with his left hand pointing forward in a gesture of leadership, with his right hand remaining at his side in quiescence.
Right.
Okay, that appears to be like how he's normally portrayed in like his most striking pose.
You've done that one before, right, Matt?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I did kind of in the off time. I was curious. We've been talking about the statues and the arms, so I went back and tried to cross reference as much as I can. And yeah, the most beneficial things that have happened, specifically the one where we were in the room with the chasm and the spider webs and stuff, was when we had the right arm down and the left arm kind of straight out.
Yeah.
That was when we heard the mysterious, really loud sound that was far to the south in the depths in the west. So that definitely is in line with this. And it's.
Do you remember, Matt, what arm position did we do that statue in the crypts to open up the secret passageway?
That was eyes.
Yeah, it was his nose. You had to pick his nose to trigger
It was actually in the fresco or bas relief behind the statue.
Yeah.
I don't know if we messed with the arms with that guy.
Yeah. So one of the things that, we could try if we want to is left arm straight in all three of these statues that we know here. Who knows if that's what we kind of speculated way back when we did it there and got that loud noise. It was kind of, everybody was like, yeah, that's what we want to do.
What about the one on the top of the pyramid that lets you in?
That one, to get in, that it's interesting because that is a little counter. We put the left arm out first, and then when we put the right arm out also is when it opened up. So that might.
Oh, okay. John, when it's describing the four secret names, you said it gave a representation. Does that mean like there's a drawing next to each of those names with a different imagery of Thoth?
Yes, correct.
But the arms are the same in all four of those?
Not in all four of those, no, not necessarily. They're just like there's no real rhyme or reason to it. He's portrayed in a number of different forms. It just seems like the most prevalent, the most aesthetically pleasing is always the one with the left arm raised and the right hand down at the side. Okay, with like 1 foot like sort of stepping in front of the other one, Egyptian style.
Okay.
Lastly, the last one is the Canticle of Revelation. Give me 1 second. The Canticle is one of the main liturgies of the ancient cult. And it enjoins the recitation of a complex set of Thothian precepts, followed by poems and chants celebrating Thoth's role in revealing language, magic, and knowledge to humans. This was written by Berenice the Chanter. It's also in Mithric. So going through this in detail, and the night that you're resting, you get confirmation that Thoth's association with magic yielded many magic users as well as priests within the cult. That's a key thing to understand because Thoth's portfolio includes magic. A lot of his most faithful were magic users, okay, in addition to priests. There was very little differentiation between the two different forms of magic. Both were viewed as holy, okay, by the cult of Thoth because of his association with magic, as he was the giver of magic to humankind, right? And often in the Canticle, it often refers to the Litany of Light as the central liturgical ceremony of the entire priesthood.
Hey, the disco ball.
Like the disco ball and that whole Stations of the Cross area down in the Plunder Town that we haven't even seen all. I remember so much of it is like, people worshiping the big circle. Sounds to me like a liturgy of light.
Yeah.
And if the Thothian cult is so strongly associated with magic, and the big Arcantian Civil War was based over magic, that does go some way towards, unless I've got my timing all wrong, explaining a lot of what happened if you've got a huge sort of center of magic use here, not just priests and divine magic, but arcane magic getting involved in that.
Well, that's an interesting point, John. Do any of these texts have any indication about the cult Thoth's viewpoint on people learning magic?
Yes, they believe that it is the purview of the cult itself. Like only those who are steeped in the priesthood's mysteries can gain access to Thoth's knowledge. Really, you know what I mean? But it's more like the priesthood interpreted Thoth's word as they would be the go-betweens between the people and Thoth. So right. Thoth gives magic, according to the scriptures, Thoth gave magic to the people, but the priesthood interpreted that as Thoth gave magic to us, and we'll decide who gets the magic. That sort of thing. But that you're right, though.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
That is a very central part of the reason for the Civil War, which was the war between the Theosophs, which included the Thoth priesthood, and the Swordians, who were egalitarian. They wanted to give magic to all the people. Right, and the Theosophs were the conservative faction that wanted to maintain the status quo and make sure that only the right people had magic, so that it couldn't be fall into the wrong hands, sort of thing.
Doesn't Theosoph basically mean holy thinker or something like that? Isn't that Theo, like sophistry. It's like holy thinker.
Soph is like wisdom, right? Like holy wisdom.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I'm gonna look it up.
So that is that's the deal with the books that you found, and you're able to do this over the course of hours as you guys are resting at night between yourselves. Titus, we'll have to work through exactly what Titus the half elf was actually able to transcribe, because that is a mechanical thing based upon the levels of the spells that he is transcribing. But for now, we'll just say that it's an ongoing effort because there's enough spells that it'll probably take even more time.
I think, John, if it's okay, we'll just sort of work out when it comes time to bring him back online, how many days he's had, and then we'll work backwards from there.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Okay. Just as long as you're not planning on taking him next time, then I don't think we have to worry about that. We can hand wave it. Holden is studying Mithric, and that will take a lot of time, but he's busily learning. Matt, yeah.
Oh yeah, I just before we go to bed, before that 24-hour clock ticks over on Lyda and we run out of time. Now that Mort's back, I'm hoping that we can try to do the raised dead on her before we rest. If we rest, it'll be too late, I think.
Sure. Yeah. It will be too late if you go to bed. So you must do this before the clock strikes midnight, basically. So you have been working dutifully to try to get some sort of shrine, makeshift shrine built that's been consecrated to Lysseon. It's not looking too great right now. Where did you want to repurpose to be the shrine?
I do think I thought about a few different things, but I think you had a good suggestion. I think it was you. I can't remember, but the room where over near the chasm that had a lot of the kind of infrastructure there already because it had been a lab.
Yeah, Blandveg's room. Okay. Yeah.
Right. So I think that kind of made sense. It also is good to kind of keep a close proximity to our secret doors and the area that's super, super important to us.
Yeah.
Right. So, that place where we busted the wall through and Blondveg's old lab.
Okay. So what we'll say is that you managed to cobble together some rudimentary furniture, and then you are actually able to cast Bless on it and consecrate the whole thing in the name of Lysseon. So as far as you can tell, the thing is relatively holy. It is not exactly ideal, but you don't have a lot of time. And you know that Lyda's soul will forever be beyond reach unless we start playing Planescape. If you don't cast it right now. So do you Avaricios does so? Yes.
Yes. So he has he prepared Bless twice, and so to do kind of his his best effort, because again he feels very guilty for what happened to her. Not only is he going to bless the space, but he's going to use his second casting of Bless to actually bless her body to make sure that it is as prepared as possible. I know there's nothing mechanical to this, but it seemed like the right thing to do to make sure that she is as holy as possible. Did his best to clean it up, make it as nice as he can. Pull out of his bag, he would pull the symbols of Lysseon that are important to him, like the a bunch of grapes to lay beside her as kind of a little offering. To make it as nice as he can. He wants to give it his best shot.
Okay, cool. So yeah, you prepare Lyda's poor crumpled form as best you can. Bless it, and all that kind of stuff. Do you do this ritual on your own, or do you, or is anyone else there to witness?
I would ask everyone who was there when we rescued her, especially Mort. Mort seemed to be very special to her. They seemed to have kind of a bond. Elizabeth was there. Elizabeth was there also when we rescued her. I can't remember. I think y'all was also.
Must have been.
I think he must have been. Yeah. So he get there, and I think that's everybody who was still alive from the rescue.
So, sorry, Darius.
It's Avaricios begins his prayers and his chanting and all that kind of good stuff. You can see that Elizabeth in particular is very. She doesn't feel great about it. She's a druid. She believes that everything runs its natural course, and that Lyda has run her natural course, and that just seems like very sort of off to her. She's not a huge fan of it. Her skin's sort of crawling. The rest of you, it's also sort of very It's like, this is some very powerful magic. Avaricios, you're completely wrapped up in what you're doing, and so you have no knowledge of like how this is sort of scheming everybody else out. But you are.
Why do I feel like this is like Belloc at the end of?
Yes, yes, I was about to say the same thing.
Yeah. But you are
out with all of his regalia on and shit.
Man, I'm not going to look. Absolutely. I don't want to watch. I know what happened. I'm not looking.
Yeah. So
Elizabeth and Lothar are going to go get drinks somewhere else. We're not going to hang out for this blasphemy.
Okay, so Avaricios, you are very in tune with your god Lysseon. The only time you've ever been closer is whenever you cast Commune the last time. So you are reaching the pinnacle of divine power, or divine communication with your god, and you are asking him the greatest favor that the god can grant. You know that you are in tune with your god because a sense of madness and wrongness sort of comes over you, which is one with Lysseon, right, as a god of madness as well, associated with Lyta herself, who was unfortunately had her mind ravaged and would often, if she had ever been amongst the penitent of Lysseon in one of Lysseon's temples, would have been looked upon as a holy figure for her madness. And you can feel your god's attention draw towards her and find in her what's the word? I don't know what the word. Worth, yeah, affinity. Like care, basically, yeah, affinity, yeah, and you're not quite sure what exactly is happening, but after some time through the course of the night, she draws breath once again. When she does, she doesn't lurch up like Uma Thurman or anything like that. She just quietly, you just start to see her chest just sort of rise. And you see her lips part and her eyelids her eyeballs sort of flutter behind closed eyelids, and then they kind of pop open. And her gaze focuses on you after like a wild look around for a second. And you can see that there is a great deal more sanity than what she had before, although there is still an edge around the corners of her eyes. That you, particularly Avaricios, can pick up on because you're so in tune with your god as you're in the midst of this prayer. Is that she's been she would have been assumed to have been touched before, but now it's like definitive that she's been touched by Lysseon. So there's a permanent edge of insanity to her now. But she rises up and she gives you like a beatific smile, and as she sort of sits up on the Blondveg's old wooden table and rests herself, you can see that her back is much more straight than it was before, right? She doesn't have that sort of golem-like crawl that she was kind of doing before. Her neck is straight, and she kind of smiles on you as if a normal person. And even her hair seems to be cleaner than it was before and straighter. And she looks on you. She says in a completely different voice, like much more smooth and rich. She speaks to you in Arcantian, and she says, Avaricios, my friend, thank you for what you have done, she says, and she smiles at you.
Oh, Lyta, you are. Honestly, this is my first time doing this. I wasn't sure it was going to work.
Not Lyta, not Lyta. My name is Versania.
Versania was written on the wall, right? In her poop chamber.
That does sound familiar.
Light is thy name I remember long ago from the past. Not quite sure what I associate it with. Darkness, though. Darkness and hunger.
Oh, that is. We don't regret raising up some looking for stuff.
This is true. This is how we found you. What do you remember? You were quite confused. You were, forgive me, quite mad there for a long time. Do you remember meeting us? Do you remember us taking you up?
Of course I remember, yes. Well, actually, let me retcon that. She actually probably wouldn't. Would she actually know who you were? I don't think she would. Yeah, okay, so I take it back. She would not recognize you by name. But she does recognize when she wakes up. Actually, hold on one second. I will be right back. Hey, we are back. Bladder's empty, beer's full. Just had to do a quick little technical thing with Matt's camera there. All right, so in the midst of the raised dead, so Lyta comes back. She does. She does not recognize Avaricios. However, she still does have that beatific smile on her, that little edge of insanity that's been kind of permanently stamped upon her, and she immediately recognizes you, Avaricios, as the vessel of Lysseon that brought her back. Okay, so instead of sort of role playing it out, she is much more calm. She doesn't have that constant fear anymore, but there's an edge of not along with the insanity. There's also like an edge of like mischief and trickery as well. Like she's got like a small smile is always in the corner of her face now as she sort of like looks around. It's a little bit off-putting. But it's almost like it's a completely different person. She doesn't understand the name Lyta anymore. She just kind of recognizes it as something that people called her for a dark period in her life, really. The accent that she speaks with is like low Arcantian, but very modern. So if you're ever wondering about like if she had some sort of weird like long age like Gollum, she didn't. She definitely comes from like within living memory. And then she tells you in so many words that she clearly remembers that she was part of an expedition of Arcantian men-at-arms to the ruined city. When they approached the plunge pool of the falls down at the base, they were like horsing around, and she fell into the plunge pool at the base of the falls and remembers being swept into forgotten, long, abandoned chambers. And she remembers only after that point, she just remembers only darkness and pain and hunger. And something that she remembers that was always lurking in the waters, what she called the demon. And but it's all very much like sense impressions that she obviously doesn't want to really talk about. Like she can barely remember, and she has no idea how long that period of time was. But that's what she associates with the term Lyta. So all told, she is at 1 hit point, and she cannot function. She must rest for 2 weeks of complete convalescence before she can do anything. Okay. That said, she recognizes that she was that her soul was going to be taken to to its final resting place and was yanked back, and she has Lysseon to thank for that. And so she is dedicated wholly to Lysseon. She is as steeped in the faith of Lysseon as you are, Avaricios, perhaps even more so because she's had like contact with the god in a manner that you have as well, right? So what that means mechanically is that should you like Lyta to become a retainer, she is willing, and she will do so without cost, similar to Njal, due to the debt that she owes the AV Club for bringing her back to life. Okay, but she can only be, because of her dedication to Lysseon, she can become a cleric, and that cleric must be of Lysseon, or a thief. Those are the only two class choices that she can have.
Same thing.
Okay.
Pretty
much.
And that's due to Lysseon's portfolio. Okay? Yeah. Madness and trickery and revelry and things like that. So a thief or a cleric.
What about
She is.
I like her.
She is of sound mind, relatively. Like she can kind of get by on her own now. So, but she offers you her services because she feels that she is in your debt, and that's up to you if you want to.
Well, Matt,
I think
should we take her to the pool of Thoth and see if it'll heal her?
No, dude, maybe we should investigate it before you start throwing her into the waters. I mean,
yeah, that's. I think like she's at a safe place now. Let's let her rest up, gather her strength. Let's
So
you're beautiful. Let's keep you here, keep you safe. Let's get your strength back up. Huh?
Avaricios, you would also know, because you fully know the knowledge of how the spell works, so the ritual works, that the period of weakness may not, I'm reading right out the spell, may not be shortened by any magical healing. It's 2 weeks of bed rest, period. There's nothing that can gainsay that.
Takes a lot out of you dying, does it?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Well, this is fine. I think this is great. She can stay here while we're building this up and gain strength, and we'll welcome her when she's ready.
Okay, so when you walk out of Blandvig's chambers, and Mort, you were there as well.
Yeah.
You find the goblins are sort of arrayed around in the Debouche level, looking upon you with fear and awe, both Mort and Avaricios as you come out, and they all like hushed whispers rush around as Versania follows you out as well, and like little exclamations, and some are actually making like gestures to like ward off evil, and some are just like some actually like wring their hands. Some actually sort of paw both of you as well, both Mort and Avaricios at the same time. And you look like you, it's sort of like the, like when Dana Reeves sort of walks into the hut of in Game of Thrones, like where she, and then kind of comes out and she's all burnt and, everyone's like Mother of Dragons and all that. It's very similar to a similar thing. Like you went into that room, one kind of person, and then you came out of that room a completely different kind of person, at least in the goblin's eyes. Right. And you realize that that could be beneficial, or it could be you may have opened up a whole nother can of worms.
I vote for that first one.
Yeah, beneficial.
They had a general friendly disposition towards you because of what you've done for them so far. They kind of liked your martial prowess and your gutsiness, but now it's sort of taken on a religious tone.
Blood-deeb.
Yeah. So, Matt, okay. Matt, do you mind if Mort does a thing?
Mort, you do a thing, my dude.
Yeah.
How could you stop him?
Well, I mean, if Avaricious has a thing like he wants to do, then you should do it.
My friend, go right ahead. I'm kind of tired. That took a lot out of me.
Yeah, it took a lot out of you. So Mort's going to enter the debouchement and see all the goblins arrayed there, and he shall, sort of arms out, kind of, fear not, my brothers, my sisters, behold, the gods work within our midst, and give sort of a speech along the lines of, this is not something to fear, this is the will of the gods, and we're just his instruments, and that Lysseon has raised this woman from the dead for purposes of good works.
Okay,
this is the idea I'm trying to get across, but gotcha, I'm not in a speech mood. I'm not in a speech writing place right this minute. So.
Some seem to.
No, I was going to say that Avaricios can pick up on that vibe and add to it. This is a good thing for all of us. Do not be afraid of her. She's going to be a new party and ally. This is nothing but goodness and strength for us all.
Okay, so again, you seem to basically confirm the general feelings that are kind of floating around the room right now. Some see it as signs of your power and strength and favor by the god, and some see it as kind of wrong. You definitely hear some whispers of like, you should let what was dead lay dead. No one's saying it right to your face, but you just see some dissatisfied looks, and just people are like, that shit wasn't right. You know what I mean? Like, and people like looking at Versania and being like, looking at her as if she's some sort of phantom or almost like she might be an undead creature or something like that. Just like no one approaches Versania, like no one gets near her. She seems to be completely oblivious, as she's basically hanging on like your shoulders. Yeah.
I'll be elbowing Elizabeth and being like, poor thing. There she was at the doorstep of Valhalla, ready to party and fight for the rest of eternity. And he has to yank her back to this dump.
Wrong accent.
So as
sorry. Should I redo it, Ted?
No.
So some of the so as that ritual kind of cleans up, it's basically around the time when you guys be going to bed. You get through the night, no problem at all. When you wake up in the morning, Wolfhard and Brother Lothar both raise up in level.
Booyah.
Yes.
So
Lothar.
Lothar is, I think it's a juicy level for you, right?
It is, man. This is 5, baby.
Yeah.
Woo!
Okay, so yeah, roll for your hit points first, D6.
Okay. Oh my god, I got a 3 again.
Okay.
3 is what I got.
Better than 1.
Better than a 1. All right. So now my new grand total for hit points are 23.
Okay.
And
You're so beefy.
I know. And I get a +2 to hit in combat, and I get an additional 2nd level spell.
Nice.
I did not pick my spell ahead of time because I actually forgot I was going to level. And I don't think I have the book in front of me.
It's fine. But your saving throws go down, and and did you already say your damage die goes up? Did you mention that?
I didn't actually say my damage die goes up. I said my attack bonus goes up. So now I have a +3 to hit with melee weapons, and now my flail does a D8, right?
That's correct.
Yep.
Goes from a D6 to a D8. All right, cool.
Yep. So that's pretty sweet. So you want to change all that and let us know what your spell is once you figure it out.
Yeah.
Volford, you are now a 2nd level barbarian. Ooh. So why don't you roll D8 for hit points?
Rolling my D8. Let's see what we can bring, huh? Okay. Well, that's a 3. Okay. That's,
3.
That would bring his max up to 8, which is better than it was before.
Okay, and I believe you don't get skills to a lot, right?
No, on the next level I will.
Next level, odd levels. Okay.
I'll just enjoy my hit points.
Very good. Okay, so nice. Lothar is getting pretty powerful. That's pretty good. Okay.
I am. I'm liking that.
If you could slide some of those hit points Avaricios' way, that'd be awesome. Just like,
What is
like a little loner, maybe.
What are Avaricios' hit points?
Oh, let's rub it in. Yeah, his maximum hit points, he's at 20.
Well, I mean, that's not that different.
Okay. So
it feels different because he's level 7.
What I will say is that we'll say that Gangrene took it upon himself to do you guys a solid and works through part of the night to get to really clean out that southeastern Mort's office. So if you want to allow, it's up to you, Mort, to allow Versania to recuperate there, she would have more privacy and, quiet and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
In fact, I was planning on instructing Gangrene to take good care of her whilst we're away. And for doing such a bang up job on the room, I'm going to give him a bonus too. Actually, I should check he needs to be paid out here.
Okay, we can worry about that later.
Yeah.
Okay.
While we're doing this, I'm going to go run tuck that kid in, and I'll be right back. Okay.
All right.
John, just in case you need to know, my 2nd level spell that I'm picking is Hold Person.
Okay.
So Light, Cure Light Wounds, and Silence, and Hold Person.
Okay, cool. Okay, so is it the same party that's going to go down to the Goblin King, including y'all and Sam?
Yeah.
Are you taking Trefco?
Oh.
Yeah. Yes.
I think we should. Yeah.
Yes.
We are. Yeah, you know what? We definitely should, because if the Setites decide to try something or the Black Snots decide to try something, we don't want to be without our Trefco. Right, Trefco?
I'll go with you.
Yeah, good. All right.
Okay, so you guys are going to make your way back down. So now, here's the question. Are you going to go back down the normal route via the wet caves and Killick and all that stuff? Or are you going to use your teleportation circle?
Teleport.
I think that makes sense. But question, John, we have a lot, like Trefco takes up a lot of real estate. Are we going to be able to get him in the teleportation circle?
Yes.
We can all hug each other.
If you want them to.
Okay, cool. I think we should.
Matt might not agree, though. We should probably ask him. Oh, he agrees.
Okay.
What do I agree to?
Too late.
You're probably right, but
well, should we go back to the Goblin King by way of the wet caves or by way of a teleport circle?
Ooh, teleport circle sounds so much fun.
Doesn't it, though?
There's one quick thing I think would be good to do in the morning. Again, to kind of like bolster spirits in general. And specifically, I've been worried about Trefco and making sure that guy does not get too hungry. So first thing in the morning, as soon as he gets up, I would like Avaricios to cast Create Food, which creates an abundance of food. It's like enough food for like 12 people and their mounts or something. So it should be plenty for a good feast for not only the goblins, but to make sure that Trefco is very, very well fed and happy. If that's okay with you guys, it seemed like a good idea.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Okay, so you do that when you magically make a gigantic feast of food and water appear after bringing someone back from the dead.
I'm trying to make it better.
It further reinforces the extremes of how the goblins are starting to view you, Avaricios. The notion that you are touched by the gods is further reinforced for good and for ill. But they happily dive into the food, and so does Trefco.
If you cause a religious civil war amongst the goblins, we're all screwed.
Unless he's leading it.
Yeah, right.
I guess there's only one way to find out.
Okay, so
Let's do this.
you go to the teleportation chamber, which is just to the northeast. The strange thing, of course, is the fact that there is that bronze bust of a bearded man, which is just floating there. Still,
Can it be pushed?
no, I cannot.
Interesting.
Anyways, but there's
so you poke it and it's like solid.
Yeah. The teleportation circle is there. So what do you do?
So let's consult our charts. For the
Right. Sir Saro explained this to us. We get everybody in the circle that's going. One of us puts in the crystals, it activates, you remove the crystals, and then you get in the circle and you have like a minute or something like that. Does that sound right to you guys?
Yeah. I think you have enough
a short
time.
window to do it,
Yeah, you have enough time to retrieve your tiles.
Okay. So you go into the circle and someone places the tiles. What is the order that you place the tiles?
All right, hold on. We've got this written down here.
in that order that we wrote them down.
Right.
Okay, we're all checking our notes.
Okay. Black, red, yellow, green, blue, white.
Okay.
I just got to say, guys, how sure are we that the Goblin King's address is correct? That he didn't write it down wrong? Or
we'll find out.
Sir Sorrow gave us that.
Oh, okay. What if Sir Sorrow has an agenda?
Well, then we're about to.
Sir Sorrow is like, I'm going to send these guys straight to the bottom of the swimming pool.
Then it's a good thing we brought our Trefco.
Okay.
Okay.
But,
so you step in and you activate them, and there's a shimmering that sort of takes place. It's very similar to like Star Trek. And someone steps out real quick and grabs the tiles quickly. The shimmering basically stays around for about a round, so like 6 seconds or so. And then you all sort of fade from existence. You don't really feel much, and then you kind of fade back in a similar circle. However, the circle that you are in is very, very different than the one that, or the room that the circle is in is very, very different than the one that you just left. As you sort of gaze around, and you find yourself that you're in like a very poorly lit, large chamber, dark and rank. And you can hear the sounds of very large creatures. Multiple of them go, huh? What? and you hear like dragging of like big weapons, and as your eyes sort of focus in the darkness, you can see that you are quickly surrounded by 4 very large ogres that are wielding gigantic clubs in this room.
So Mort will say, "Hold, my friends, we are emissaries of the king."
Yeah. Hold on a second.
And pray that works.
Hold on. I'm trying to get into the map here. Okay. Give me one moment.
And we all died.
I'm trying to.
What happened?
I'm trying to remember where that was.
The
okay.
teleportation circle is in the ogre's meeting chamber.
So to the east of that fountain of fresh water in the Goblin Market. There's a door or a portcullis. I'm not sure which one.
Hold on. John's about to tell us.
Okay, good job.
Okay, so in the room, there's about 8 large bedrolls. There's barrels of brandy and water. There's a large chest. There appears to be some coin that's actually sort of falling out of it. It's like the chest is actually like propped open a little bit because there's so much coin in it. There's a table and 8 battered chairs. And on the eastern wall, there are actually 2 halfling corpses that have been cured and are on hooks in the room. Yeah.
Friends of ours?
There is a single door, large, that is in the middle of the northern wall. And on either side of that northern wall are 2 very, very large winches. You guys are standing in the middle of the teleportation circle, which is in the southeast corner of this room. The room itself is 30 by 30. So the ogres, they look at you in surprise and anger, and you see one of them actually kind of pushes the other one a little bit and says, "No, King said it's okay. These members help goblins, help tribe." And the other one kind of goes right up to Trefco, says, "Not this one." And Trefco's like looking at him, like, and you can see it. He like bares his fangs at him, and the ogre's like, "Whoa!" And he kind of smiles, and he said, he looks around, he sees you, Mort, because you're like the goblin amidst them, and says, "You can go into halls through door. This one, no."
He is a member of our party, same as these other pink skins here.
No, he caused too many problems in hall. He cannot go.
He must accompany us. He is our bodyguard, just as you guard the king.
He need company you, then you stay here with him. He not
Perhaps
go
we
into
can
halls.
come to some compromise, my good man.
We get in trouble from King if King sees big ape in halls. Ape no come. Ape can stay here, go back.
What do you think, Trefco? I think they're a little bit afraid of you, sir.
Hungry. Goblins yummy.
Perhaps the ogres are right.
Full. I just fed him quite a bit. It was lovely brunch. There were mimosas, I'm sure. Probably a nice like salad, multiple courses.
Just for the game's sake, I'm going to tell you from this point on, like in the goblin halls, they will not allow you to bring Trefco into the halls. They just won't.
All right. Well, we might dangerous. Have to some dispensation from them because we can't teleport him back out.
We can't get out this way.
They said he can stay here with the ogres.
Right, but at some point we're going to need to get a dispensation to like leave the area.
Escort him out.
Escort it out somehow.
Well, we'll talk. Maybe we'll talk to the king and get that.
Yeah. Trefco, why don't you teach these young ogres here how to arm wrestle?
We should leave some of our retainers here with him then, right?
Sure. Should we leave Sam or Niall?
Niall.
Okay.
If the ogres get frisky,
I'll
then
stay.
Trefco and Niall can probably mop the floor with them for at least a little while.
Right. So
I'll stay.
John,
I'll get in. I'll get in on some of that arm wrestling stuff too.
on the map, are we just to the east of that portcullis off the Great Market?
Yeah, but I'll give you the exact here.
Okay.
You know what? Don't even bother right now. It's going to be too complicated. We'll just do it later. So the ogres start to kind of talk amongst themselves, and you can kind of get the impression that they were told by the king to expect people to appear, and that they didn't really believe it. That this is basically like where they've been assigned to sort of camp or to kind of hold, like this is like the ogre guard post sort of thing. And but the circle itself had never been used in their memory. So they are sort of flabbergasted that what the king told them was actually true. So they're like, whoa, okay, that actually worked. And these are the guys that the king told us to look out for. So yeah, they look and they kind of smile at the ape, and they sort of finger their weapons a little bit, and Trefco just looks like pissed off and miserable as he sort of hunkers down in a corner, just like glaring at the ogres. And Y'all also is glaring at everybody because he's also pissed off that he's being left behind. Okay, so
well, I'm pissed off and I'm going.
So are you?
Welcome to the club.
Are you leaving the northern door?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you go through the northern door, and you go for about 20 feet before it opens up into a very large eastern-western passageway, which you can immediately peg, even though you haven't been here before, as the part of the main entrance that leads into the goblin halls from the east. To the immediately to your right, so to the east, there is a raised portcullis, which is hovering over a wide set of well-trodden stairs that go down into the darkness. And to immediately to your left, there is a closed portcullis through which you can see that 30-foot wide corridor kind of goes down for about another 40 feet towards the west, and then opens up into the great goblin halls. Like you can see, like you can hear the noise and the light kind of shining through that portcullis and all that kind of stuff. And straight in front of you to the north, the corridor kind of continues on in that direction. A smaller 10-foot wide corridor kind of goes on in that direction into the darkness, but you can't really see what's there. On the other side of the portcullis to the west, so beyond where you're actually standing, there is another winch. Actually, let me see if there is. Yeah. Are there ogres here? There are ogres here. Where are they? Yes, so there are two ogres here that signal to goblins on the other side of the portcullis, and they recognize you, and the goblins raise that portcullis, and you are led into the goblin halls. So when you move down the western corridor for about 40 feet, you see that there is two statues in the midst of that corridor, one on the northern wall and one on the southern wall. They are 6 feet tall in marble. The north statue is in like a socialist realist sort of style. It's heroic, all that kind of stuff. And it depicts a muscled human laborer wielding a pair of hammers. Okay, so it's very, Italian fascist sort of kind of look to it, right? But with hammers in, so it's like it's kind of a little bit different. Like it's not a worthy. It's not a Thoth representation or anything like that, or any of the other gods. It's just a strapping human wearing, like a laborer, obviously a laborer with hammers. That's on the northern side. The southern side depicts a goblin. That goblin is expertly carved, and it is employing mason's tools. That goblin appears to be of the same age as the human laborer, so it's not something that the goblins here actually erected. It's carved in the Arcantian style, but it's obviously that the goblins that are here currently love this statue way more than they love the human statue, and they have decorated it with colorful scarves, turbans, and pantaloons on this statue. So you kind of observe that, and you move through a large archway to the west, and you find yourself entering in on your map there, right where you have in the middle of the eastern wall. Okay, and you kind of come through. The fountain's there. Master Life Cream is there with all of his setup and all that kind of good stuff, and ogre guards are watching. All the little white lizards are running around. There's goats everywhere. There's fire beetles everywhere. All sorts of activity and hustle and bustle. What do you do?
Okay, so I think we need to go up to the king, right?
Well, you tell me. I've never been down here.
Oh, right. Yeah. Well,
it's your party here, emissary man. Get going.
Right. Okay. So yes, we will head to the northeastern corridor of the Great Hall and go up to the sort of mezzanine level, and I will lead the party around the gauntlet of guards and trampolines, looking out over the goblin halls until we come to the antechamber of the king.
Yep.
Where we will present ourselves.
Yep, I got it. Okay, so you you move up to the northeast, up to the northeastern corridor, and you find that spiral staircase, and you make your way up. Yep. When you get up to the upper floors, you know that you are right outside the witch doctor's chambers. And indeed, as you kind of come up there, and you're about to head south into that strange room with the pillars and those strange goblin zombies. Do you kind of remember that? As you're making your way there, you are actually a couple of the witch doctors actually sort of scuttle past you, and they kind of they kind of stop, and as they kind of past you, and they're like, "Oh, are you here to see the king?"
Indeed, so as ambassadors and emissaries.
Ah, then you must. He is right here. He is speaking with Rizit.
Ah.
So
excellent news.
Please, you will be able to see him soon, but you must remain quiet while he communes with our great prophet.
Certainly, I understand. Shh.
Okay, so
we'll wait in this weird hallway. I'll go say hi to the goblins with the ballistas.
No. You may join. You may join.
Oh, even better.
Even better.
So they usher you into that strange hall with the 11 pillars, 20 foot tall, right? And each of the pillars, there are 9 of them. There is a 1 foot square inset plaque made of silver with a Mithric numeral on it. So like the Roman numerals 1 to 9. The walls themselves are coated in black, and there are silver sketches of 10 goblin heroes that have been painted on the wall. And standing next to each of the pillars is a goblin zombie, right? As you guys move towards the eastern exit out of this room for the very first time, the zombies actually start to move towards you aggressively, and you hear the witch doctors actually say some magical words, and they kind of make like a warding gesture, and the zombies sort of go back to their positions of watch next to the pillars. Okay, and they put a finger on their lips, and they're like, and they kind of usher you in with like wide eyes into the room to the east.
All right.
It's easier to just kill them.
They're already dead. The gobzoms. All right. So is there a corridor to the room to the east, or is it open directly into it?
Opens directly into a chamber, and that chamber is 30 by 30. You're entering in via the middle of the western wall. And this is a foul room. You can tell immediately. You kind of got that vibe the very first time you were. You can kind of feel the vibes sort of coming out of it. When you step in reluctantly, the chamber itself exudes an overwhelming odor of sulfur and a strong aura of evil. The walls themselves are it's even more off-putting because you associate the smell with, like hell, you know what I mean? Like a nasty place. But the walls themselves are actually painted with a sky blue. It's like a baby's nursery sort of thing. You know what I mean? And the floor is sheathed in an elaborate pattern of colored triangles of marble. And they're arranged in geometric patterns. On the eastern end of the room in the middle, there is a 15-foot diameter thaumaturgic circle. And it's a very complex circle. The circle is composed of red, blue, and green marble triangles with 9 1-foot diameter black circles that are interspersed at regular intervals along the circumference of that circle. Okay. Each of the black circles has a mythic numeral that is inscribed in lapis inside it from 1 to 9. Okay. However, in the room itself, you can see the king wearing his turban and his robes is standing before the circle itself, and there he is. Behind him are the 3 advisors that you had saw up in the court. One of them you talked to was Palestrium. That Palestrium is the one-legged grizzled guy. There's another one that is like really, really old and skinny with stringy white hair that's sort of like, you know, like it just kind of comes down like a worm tongue almost, right? And there's another one who is definitely younger than the other 2, who's middle-aged, and he's like really beefy, like a really like strong goblin. But still smaller than West Keenum, are behind him. And in addition, there are 3 witch doctors, one of whom is Lara Keem, that female goblin that you rescued. And they are on the southern wall, and they are arrayed in front of a complex series of strange devices that you as players would be able to know as very complex abaci, like counting devices, basically, right? Like analog counting devices. And they are arrayed before them, and they all seem to be very focused on the king and what the king's doing. The king is in front of the circle, and in the midst of that circle is a horrible, horrible creature, steaming and dripping inside the circle. The source of the sulfur just sort of emanating off of him in waves is what you can only ascribe to be a demon in the flesh itself. It's constantly mutating, but it generally appears to be a floppy bipedal pile of dripping purple wax. Its head has 2 large black eyes, but like its skin is constantly like dripping its purple like over those eyes constantly, and there's a hint of a black sphincter of a mouth. And you can see that every once in a while, the mouth sort of occasionally slides open and it reveals chitinous, hollow, conical teeth, like cylindrical teeth with in the mouth. And you see that occasionally a lump of wax will actually like fall off of it and sizzle onto the floor and evaporate. And then every once in a while, one actually projects out of it, escapes the circle, and hits the ground. And when it hits the ground, the witch doctors actually quickly come up, and they actually use these long scrapers, which are against the wall, and they scrape it into a bag, and they kind of collect it. All right. Everyone in the room seems to notice you, except for the king, who is very intent on this demon in standing in front of it. And he says in his inimical style, as you sort of walk in, he's addressing this demon. Rizit is what the goblins seem to call it. Actually, what he does first is he goes to the north. On the northern end of the room, there are 2 stone chests, and there are those scrapers also that are attached to wooden poles. And I guess he actually would notice you but he also he kind of notices you, recognizes you, but obviously kind of gives you the hint, like, we're doing something important. Just hold on a second, right? So he comes to the stone chest and he pulls out, he kind of roots it around in one, and he pulls out what appears to be a mummified hand. All right, like an old withered hand. And he looks at it and he's like, this'll do. And he goes over and he launches it at the demon. The demon snatches it with its mouth and gulps it down, dripping wax the entire time. And it voices, actually, like a real voice kind of comes over and it goes, "What would you ask of me?" And Keenum kind of a little bit nervous. He kind of washes his hands a little bit, dry washes his hands. And he's like, great Rizit, I have a question for thee. So these so-called Priscian war mages, as they like to call themselves, they wandered in a little while ago, and they've been talking to Palestrium for the past month or so. And he kind of gestures over to Palestrium, who nods. Well, these Prussians, they claim they want the nation's help against the Troll Thane. And I'm kind of thinking to myself, would that be a wise course of action? And he kind of looks expectantly at the demon. The demon kind of retracts a little bit, and it looks like it's thinking, and it's mumbling these words. And finally, like this string of words sort of comes out all in a rush. And strangely enough, the words that it says are, the integral of e to the power of x with respect to x from 0 to infinity equals the square root of -1 times pi divided by 2. And you can see as he utters that, and then kind of and then like a whole bunch of wax just kind of falls off of him. The witch doctors, including Lara Keem, are like whipping through with the abacus, to like changing all these, like whipping all these beads all around and all that kind of stuff. And King West Keenum sort of like looks hesitantly over at Rizit, then looks over at his witch doctors expectantly. Lara Keem finally slips one last bead over, and she looks up triumphantly at the king, and she says, "The answer, Your Majesty, is no." And King West Keenum sort of is like, he's like, "Thank you, Rizit. I really appreciate you being so concise." So. Yeah. It's a little bit of a strange scene, to say the least. But then he seems to be satisfied, and he sort of...
You can say that, yeah.
Yeah.
We may have gotten in bed with the wrong political party here. I don't know.
Say, sorry, you caught me at the wrong time, but it's so good to see you. What brings you down?
Is the demon still there, or did it dissipate?
Huh?
Is the demon still there?
It's still there, yeah.
Ah. Mighty King, we bring you news of matters of state.
Perhaps indeed. So you found my my scepter, is that right?
Not quite so good news, my lord, but something of great import. Perhaps we should leave this room to your throne room?
Sure. If it makes it uncomfortable in here, sure, we can leave. No problem.
Was that Av's hand by any chance? Because that would have been hilarious.
Okay.
So, so I think I'd rather get out of here. I don't want to be in the room with a demon.
Okay, so as you are leaving, your minds are all filled with the voice of that demon, as it appears to be talking to you directly through telepathy, rather than voiced out loud. You all hear the same thing, and it implores you to free it from its binding. And it tells you the Codex Sequentis has the answers. He says, the Archmage Kel Bormal, overseer of truth, is he who summoned and bound me. All his knowledge of my prison is contained in that work. I will give you your heart's every desire should you accomplish this. I swear by the old gods and the new.
Yeah. You go to hell. Odin is my homeboy.
I mean, my every desire?
Yep.
Oh no.
I don't have such a book.
We've been camping together for a long time. I know what your desires are. Gross.
Hey, don't yuck my yums. Oh. Just a little goblin.
All right, so you go back to the throne room, and what do you tell the king?
So I will, embellish it with the usual, Your Majesties, and oh, great wise one, yada, yada. Yes, Matt?
Just this was, Wilfred wasn't there, but seems like something we want to make sure we do in private to make sure nobody else is around, or at least nobody who wasn't in the room
in private.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what I was getting at, Matt. Was
Don't forget to ask about Trafco, homie.
Oh, thank you. So, okay. Oh, great one. When last we spoke, you set us to several tasks, among them your scepter. My apologies, we have not yet found it, but rest assured we are searching. But you also at that time set us to the task of finding amongst the beastmen a treaty or an arrangement. Surely you will recall your wishes of this, O king.
Yes, he does.
Yes. We have gone and spoken to their war leader. Mighty indeed are the beastmen, led by a powerful war leader, but they are listening to the words of honor that I spoke in that room with them, and ask that you return with me, you or your emissary, my apologies, some duly appointed ambassador who speaks with your voice, to arrange a formal treaty of peace between these two nations, and to establish the border between them. Moreover, the beastmen, in their wisdom, have asked that they might gain passage to the surface through your lands, to the benefit of both parties.
Do you have
thus Mort has spoken.
Do you have some sort of token?
I do indeed have a token of their in bona fides, O mighty king, which my referee John has just reminded me of, and I now present it to you, the ring of Count Scleros, as a token of his good word, faith, and honor.
Don't mind if I do. Yoink. And he takes it, and very nice, and he kind of bites it and puts it on his own finger.
It was less a gift and more a sign of faith. The Count asked that it be returned.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I'm gonna give. Let's see. Let me think about this for a second. You can see that he's fingering a ring on his own finger as well. I don't know if I like the sound of this. You see, I don't mind telling you, as I told you before, that we have designs on those areas to the south of the Debouche. We need room to grow. You know what I mean? So I know you're not responsible for this, of course. I really want to go down there, but I do know that those beastmen, they're dangerous folk. It's unlikely that we are going to be able to oust them without help from at least another faction. That's what I'm thinking. Now,
perhaps, my lord, the beastmen might be the help you need against some other faction rather than to make war with them.
The thought has crossed my mind, but, just don't like having them near me. You know what I mean? They kind of give me the heebie-jeebs. You know what I'm saying? So, listen, I heard from Harib in his little time away there that in his room where he was holed up there all afraid, that there was a cave-in to the west there. Sounds like something that and it was in an Arcantian area. Might be something that could be removed, a little bit of muscle work, and there might be something that might be... we could go that way, I'm thinking. That's sort of away from their territory. I'm also thinking, too, that in that great hall of theirs, at No Man's Land, that there's some upper reaches. And the beastmen haven't deigned to explore there either.
This, I believe, is true, my lord. They do not venture above the ground in that room.
And they actually don't claim that territory as their own, even though they travel through it a great deal.
They are well ensconced on both sides of the room.
Well, with that in mind,
lord,
when you kind of give him the details of like how you where and how you met them in that little guard outpost, he tells you this is what he wants you to offer in return to the beastmen as a counter proposal, basically. And you can tell that he's sort of being like a little like canny, like he's got like he's got like an ulterior motive sort of thing. So he says he wants you to ask the beastmen to divest themselves from that guard station complex to the west of that north-south hallway, and cede the Great Hall to the goblins. All right, or at least cede, like to not waylay goblins in the Great Hall. He says that place has always been a place of conflict between the halflings and beastmen, and now us and the beastmen. I want you to take my word back to Count Scleros that Great Hall will be a neutral zone where the goblins and beastmen can meet in safety and in friendship to discuss matters of import in the halls. The goblins, you demand, should be able to remove the barricade that leads to that Great Hall And in addition, we should be able to remove that barricade to the south of the Great Hall that allows access to the upper areas. Okay, because there was a barricade there as well, if you remember. In return, the Beastmen can retain all of their original territory without fear of any goblin incursion. He kind of smiles when he says it. And any parties seeking to entreat with the Beastmen via goblin territory will not be accosted by us. And we will also grant them, according to their desires, access to the debouchement and thus the exterior, which we know is greatly desired by many factions now. Yeah, Mike.
My Lord King, just if you look at the map of that area around that debouchement, there are a system of tunnels just to the west of that area, including some crypts and a hidden temple. We were thinking about exploring that way at some point in the near future, which could potentially be another avenue for goblin expansion throughout that level.
Oh, we've got designs on that as well.
Well, we obviously don't seek to hold any territory ourselves. So whatever we go through and clear out would be providing safety for your troops to move through that area.
Well, we appreciate that, of course, brother.
We would offer that as possible areas for you to expand on, rather than, if that helps you keep from encroaching on areas that the Beastmen have secured for themselves.
Oh, yeah.
They've made it very clear that area to them is of the utmost importance, and thus I don't think it would be something that you would be able to at the future expand into without significant blood loss.
Never say never, you know what I mean? Like, what I'm offering here is I'm not trying to claim anything that isn't theirs already. They can keep what they've got. Now, what I'm thinking, though, and you can tell that he just kind of completely believes that you're on his side, so he's going to kind of confide this in you. I'm thinking that if we can break through that cave-in, if we can explore those areas to the west and south of the Beastmen areas, maybe we find these so-called great fungal caverns of theirs. And maybe if we can find some access to the great fungal caverns, maybe we also explore the upper halls of the Great Hall. Maybe we kind of enclose them, entrap them in their own area without them even knowing. Maybe we find out where these cloud cap mushrooms are that they so greatly desire, and maybe we can control access to those cloud cap mushrooms. That's what I'm thinking. Now, I'm thinking the long term. I'm just putting out possibilities here. You know what I mean? Kind of put some feelers out, kind of expand in that direction, kind of close around them. And then who knows what the future may hold.
Very canny, my lord, very canny. I'm sure you are aware of the military prowess of the Beastmen.
No, we're not going to make any sudden moves. You guys are so worrisome. We're not going to make any rash movements.
I will tell you too, my lord, or my king, that staircase that you wish to have opened up. Last time the Beastmen had explored it, they ran into large baboons.
Baboons, eh?
Indeed, my lord.
Well, we'll see what there is to see.
Speaking of baboons...
I wanted to say one more thing, if I could, about the caverns. I'm sure my lord is aware of the value the Beastmen hold those caverns, and I think I would be remiss if I did not say that they will make it cost very dearly, if you understand my meaning.
We're not going to go toe to toe. What? I don't understand. I don't understand this reticence. It's as if you're taking the Beastman's side here. I don't understand. Are you goblin or are you not? I mean, come on.
Oh, not at all, my lord. I am indeed 100% goblin, but
exactly. So
former
expansion.
legionnaire of the Arcantian Empire, I feel that the Count Scleros has spoken to me in the honor of soldiers.
That could be the case. I've noticed that they do have a reputation for honesty. but there's something else going on there. I got to tell you, this whole mother deal, I don't like it. Sounds to me like some sort of enchantment of some sort. I don't know. For as much honesty as they may put forth, I think there's something a little bit more subtle going on behind the scenes. You know what I mean? Regardless, that's not.
That sounds.
Listen, I don't want an enemy on my front, and you have done me a great service. If you can relay this message back and secure those terms for me. Therefore, we will have at least a détente with the beastmen, and you will have put the goblins in a very good position to expand further in that direction anyways. And then, as I said, who knows what the future may hold?
Indeed, my lord. Then I have your authority to make formal arrangements?
Indeed, with this. And he pulls off of his finger a silver ring with a large crystal stone on it. And he says that Count Scleros will recognize this as coming from me. If you speak with this, you are speaking as me. In addition, as a sign of my goodwill towards the Count, you may take that rotting beastman deserter on the punishment stakes back to his commander.
Ah, a noble gift indeed, sir.
My lord, or my king, when, if I may speak of something else, when Sir Sorrow arrived in your domain, did you arrange for any way to contact the Sunscarred Knights in the future?
No, that's unfortunately impossible. They come and go as they please. People have tried, including yours truly, but they're what do you call it? Slippery fellows.
Yeah.
Surely they have some fortress or dwelling within the caverns?
Oh, there's lots of rumors about that. They have this master that they keep reporting to, so they gotta have a hole up somewhere. But for all anybody knows, they just sort of wander around. But they're getting their orders from somewhere.
Speaking of orders, if we could go back to something that Mike brought up, we brought with us, by way of the teleport circle, an ally we have made amongst the mighty baboons. A noble and fearsome warrior baboon named Trefko. Your ogres, who are most loyal, refused to allow Master Trefko entry into the goblin market.
Good.
With, I suspect, some good thinking there on their part. But nevertheless, we must get him out of the teleport room to get him away from the goblin market. Not being able to teleport him directly, we beg of you either your leave to have my bodyguard accompany me, or a temporary dispensation to at least allow him passage to leave in peace.
I don't like it. You going to be going out the main stairs? No problem.
The main stairs.
To the east. The main entrance.
Right back
beyond
up
the
to
portcullis.
Yeah.
I was thinking the wet caves back upstairs to the debouchement.
That's a long journey.
But each step further away from the market.
If I may, I just had an idea. Pardon me, Wolfherd Cheek. I don't talk too much. It seems like if a big giant 4-armed monkey, and he stinks, he's scary, all of that stuff. It seems like this would make you look really, really powerful if you didn't gave us dispensation to walk this thing right through, like you didn't even care.
I see you're appealing to my vanity. Usually that would get you everything you need. I'll tell you this much. You give me that Trefko as my own personal body servant, no problem. That would be great. You're absolutely right. That would make me look really friggin' awesome. Other than that, I can only assume that you just had some ill judgment on your part in ever bringing him down here in the first place. And you can see his eyes get like real dead as he looks at you guys. He says, I'm going to give you a little bit of forgiveness this time around, and you'll have dispensation to take him and immediately leave by whichever way you deem most beneficial to yourself, and then never, ever bring him down here again.
My apologies, O King. I was not aware entirely of the enmity between your two peoples. I rather thought that
it's a mutant, gigantic, four-armed baboon that can rip things to shreds. What made you think that it would be okay to bring him down here to this civilized area?
I mean, ogres can do that.
The ogres are eunuchs and have been trained by yours truly. They are completely subservient to me.
Trefco is certainly not that.
I shall have you ponder your mistake while we take a break. We will be right back. Okay, we are back. Bladder's empty, beer's full. So, have you had the time to reflect upon your poor decisions?
Yes. we're very
well.
sorry.
I mean, the newest ones, the most recent ones.
This really, all of this directly comes down to, stems from that halfling being such an asshole, right? Like one mean halfling. The minute we get down here, has led to everything that's happened ever since.
Yeah, so the king, he's basically kind of laying. For one thing, he's trying to get across that yes, we are allies, and that he trusts you as far as it goes, but that it's very obvious too that he has his own motives that may not align with your own. Right? He's always thinking about expansion, always. Right. And until you actually become like his right hand sort of thing, like what stuff that you say isn't going to have a lot of sway over him. Right.
Right.
And the other thing just for the moving forward for the game generally is Trefco is a really big plus on your guys' side when it comes to like delving, like to explore and guard things that are yours is also a great thing to have. Everybody in the halls, those baboons who know they're viewed as wild, predatory, violent, aggressive creatures, and the four-armed ones are the worst of those. And so it doesn't matter what Trefco's acting like, like the immediate response to seeing one of those things is hostility and fear. And so Trefco cannot be brought into what would be deemed like civilized areas without causing like a major ruckus. You know what I mean? So just be aware.
And if we had paid attention last time, then we probably would know this time. I did have a thought though. I mean,
I was just gonna say, like Matt, like the baboons. When we talked to the beastmen were like, "Oh, we've encountered them once or twice. Oh, we've seen them once or twice." The goblins said the same thing. "Oh, we've encountered them once and twice." So, I was not expecting this firsthand knowledge of these things being like roaming death machines. Quite.
No, it's not firsthand knowledge. It's just like if you see a huge white four-armed mutant baboon with giant fangs, 8 foot tall, walking into your halls, like you're not going to be like, "Oh, that's just a strange thing." You know what I mean? People are going to freak.
He's cuddly. He's cuddly.
I get it. And Scleros did that. That was his first response. But I didn't have a thought, which is, why don't we use the invisibility rings? Right. That way we, at least when we walk him back through the market, it's not going to be like somebody's not going to take a pot shot at him. And
that makes sense.
Yeah. If a ring will go on his finger.
Yeah. It might. Maybe put it just like on the tip of his little pinky finger.
A little pinky finger, a little claw.
Okay. Yeah. Let's keep going.
Why not?
Right. There you go again, Mike. Getting impatient.
I know. I can't. Save it for the detox, boys.
Oh.
Okay.
All right. So yeah, we'll go. So I've got the ring from the king. We've got some instructions. He's given me authority to treaty with the beastmen. I have some thoughts about that, but I will bow and scrape it on, and then I say we get out of here before he makes us do something shady.
Okay, are you going to take the
prisoner, guys?
Oh, we got to go pick him up for sure.
Yeah, but he doesn't want to go back. Are we just going to turn him over to Scleros anyway?
I say why don't we just bring him and then let him go? I mean, if he goes up the stairs, we can tell him if you go up the stairs, the dragon's going to eat you, but you're welcome to give it a shot. Right. Otherwise, or he can, come, take his chances running back down south, but that's not going to be great.
I was planning on taking him back to Scleros and actually.
Oh, you're so evil.
No, man, he's a deserter.
Ooh. He's a deserter because he doesn't want to kowtow to the alien, sex mama in the Beastman territory. Well, anyway, we save it for the detox. Let's grab him and go.
Okay, so when you're about ready to go, and you're going to be going back the way that you came originally from the halls, which is down from the north, across the bridges and all that kind of stuff, you see that the goblins have been told to release the prisoner, and they have him basically waiting for you. So this is Barrios. He is a sheep-headed beastman. He's wearing basically like a loincloth, and he can barely stand up. He looks stunned that his fortunes have changed. But when he sees you, who we saw before, he assumes the worst. And he looks completely defeated because he's just too strong. He's too weak to be able to fight back. So he's still manacled and all that kind of stuff. Bound, so you can take him as you will. But he just looks like he's like a dead man walking, basically. Do you, as you go back up, do you spot the bailiff? Can't remember his name, Reskeem or something like that. Who has the platinum rod at his side?
Platinum rod.
But you
for the gold.
And then you go back up into the wet caves. Killick is there again. In that strange door as well. He's happy to see you. He tells you again if you need to use the troll lifts, they're right beyond that door. Yada yada yada. But
Would
you
like to try that someday.
But you move back up, and that takes you about. I think I said that the travel time between the Goblin Halls and the Debouche is like an hour. So after an hour, you are back. So I would say that probably being down the halls probably took about, I'd say about 2 hours, and an hour to get back up. Yeah. So 3 hours total. So right now it's about 11 a.m. when we pick it back up at the Debouche.
Okay.
John, it seems simple enough, but can we say while I was down there, can Wolfhard pick up a few javelins just to have a ranged option?
Sure.
Would that be simple enough? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'll mark it off.
That's fine. Okay. So you make your bag.
I have an idea.
Go ahead.
Sorry, John. I have an idea about the prisoner, guys. Okay. Because I'm also feeling pretty bad about what the king is saying to Count Scleros.
Right.
And I don't really want to come back to Scleros and be like, yep, it's all hunky-dory. Here's what the king wants. Da-da-da-da. Like, I kind of want to warn him a little bit. So here's my idea. The king has offered this sheep-headed deserter as a token of good faith, and I could say something like just Count Scleros in a kind of like a between you and me, man to man kind of thing. If you let him go, I'll tell you what I really think, kind of thing. Yeah.
Wait, if he lets what's his name, Barrios? If he lets Barrios go,
let the deserter go, and I'll give you my real opinion on what's happening, kind of deal.
I kind of feel like it's a little early to do that. First of all, the goblins won't make a move on them that's against their wishes for a while, right?
Oh, yeah, that's part of what I'll tell him.
No, I know that, but I'm just like, we are so in bed with the goblins now that endangering that relationship for the sake of the beastmen, which we have no relationship with yet at this point, you can always give him that information between now and when the goblin troops move. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I would keep that card in your pocket for now, and let's just deal with this like up front, because frankly, the goblins are really cowardly. It took them so long to push the halflings out of the debouchement, and there were like 20 of those dudes. We have no idea how many beastmen there are, and the beastmen are far more like scary than the halflings were. So
yeah, that's true.
So I would just play it straight for now. The king has like all of our gold, all of our shit is in his territory. He is our only safe haven right now, and we still have no idea what the mother thing is. But by making the deal with the beastmen, we get access to their territory. Then we can figure out what's going on there, and then we can kind of maybe. You guys might want to be a little careful of the goblins. We're just hearing now that they're going to screw you. You know what I'm saying? Sure.
Yeah, no, that's tactically very sensible. It just, boy, it rankles with Mort, it's sort of dishonesty.
You're a man of two worlds, Ted. You're like a goblin, but you're also an imperial, right? So it's like, yeah. Go ahead, Matt.
The thing I'd like to point out is the absolute worst thing that could happen to us is giving Scleros the decision to act on that information right now. Like he could, maybe he would say, "Yeah, okay, I'll wait and do something later," but that's putting the decision and the power all in his hands. And he could decide, you know what? It's in my best interest to attack and do something about this right now. If that's their plan, we might, and then we're really, really screwed.
Okay. It's a bad idea. That's why I mentioned it, to talk it out, kind of thing.
I love that. It was a good discussion, Ted.
Okay.
They're not harping on you, Ted.
Expeditious is building a bar, for God's sakes.
So I don't want to mess that up.
Yeah, don't mess up the bar, man.
So when you come back after 3 hours of being...
Go ahead.
Sorry?
No, go ahead.
When you come back after 3 hours of being down there, you see that a strange thing has sort of occurred in the southeast towards Mort's office. There appears to be a number of goblins that are sort of surrounding that door, and they are marking the door and the walls around it with a whole bunch of strange markings and graffiti all around it, and are laying down like bits of food and offering and stuff like that in front of the door as well. And it's just it's rather odd. They're all doing it with like a kind of awe and reverence and things like that. And some of them are actually like on their knees and they're chanting, and it's very odd.
Oh man, this is like, we're gonna have the whole false doom thing from Conan here in a minute. Rescue my child, power of strength. Ugh.
You see, Bottleneck looks thoroughly annoyed because it's a lot of the goblins that were working have like stopped working, and he can't really get them to do what he wants, and he sort of looks over at you and kind of, he glares a little bit, just in annoyance, like he knows that you guys were responsible for this complete lapse in the labor force right now. So that's going on.
All the goblins have ever done is work. Now is the time for goblins to explore their religious side, their faith.
That's definitely what they're doing.
Yeah. They finally find God, and there we go.
And the foreman, the working man, finds God, and what happens? Management complains. You see, this is
okay. So,
you guys,
what do you do?
I was just gonna say, we have maybe about 20 minutes left. Let's go to the pool.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
The pool.
Well,
I'm down for that.
Let's lock up our sheep-headed guy.
Yeah.
Somewhere. Tell Trefko, keep an eye on this yo-yo. We need him later.
Don't eat him.
Don't eat him. Still bananas left from this morning. And then we go to the pool.
Okay, will do. So you get Barrios settled away, and you move. Wait, did you say? I'm sorry. Did you say Trefko should guard Barrios?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're just bringing y'all and Sam then with you.
Yeah.
Okay. So you move down. Do you have that?
That sounds fun.
You do have that thoroughly mapped, so that's fine. You move down there past the magic mouths once again, and you approach that room. So there is a continual light spell which has been cast in the center of the ceiling. So it's always lit as you kind of enter in. There's the gray-green mist is rising 3 feet above the floor, moving gently with the drafts in the dungeon itself. And through the mist, you can see in the center of the room, there's a 20-foot diameter pool that is rimmed with a 1 foot tall blue granite lip. The walls have frescoes, but they are very damaged, and you can't really make out what any of them probably depicted at one point. The liquid. So this is the first time you're sort of entering into the room, right? So you can see the bounds of the pool itself, but you can't really see the liquid within it because the grain green mist is sort of covering it.
Okay. Now you told us last time that the mist was odorless.
Yes.
And felt kind of damp, correct?
Yes, correct. Mm-hmm.
Does the mist seem heavier in this room than any other room?
No, it's the same consistency. The dampness too, you also feel in those other two rooms as well. I should say the pyramid room. And
it doesn't seem like it's boiling out of the pool.
No,
correct?
No.
All right. So I am going to go into the room, and I'm going to, even if I have to use my hands to feel around the edge of the lip of the pool, if I can't see it, try and feel if there's any engravings or carvings or anything like that.
You don't see any engravings, but however, when you get to the edge and you can kind of see through the mist into the pool, you can see that the pool itself, and you remember seeing goblins splashing around in here. The pool is filled with like a liquid sludge of some sort.
Oh, interesting.
It's dark and sludgy and like a brown color, and it reeks with a foul and disgusting odor coming off of it.
Goblins were swimming in it, though. We know that for a fact.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So probably not like an ooze.
Can we ask them if the liquid was like this before they were bathing and swimming in it, or did they just not mind the goo?
Do you go back up to the goblins and ask them?
I mean,
I'll go find Bottleneck and find the goblins that were in here and talk to them.
Okay, so
I'll just be like, hey, come here. I want to show you something. Take it back.
Okay. So yeah, I'm going to say that getting down there, getting Bottleneck to come back is going to take 2 turns.
Sure.
Bottle is like, I have stuff to do. What do you want?
When we saw goblins splashing and playing in the water.
Yeah.
A, are they all right? And B, where are they? I want to ask them a couple questions.
They're fine. What, this? I bathe in there every day. Look, and he's like, he puts a finger in and he pulls out like a brown sludge. Yum. It's good. Splash, splash.
Whoa.
Get in there. You guys smell anyways.
All right. Did the water look like this before you guys started using it to bathe?
This? Yep, it's fine. Look at it.
What did it look like before?
This?
Huh.
Okay.
What, you
Thanks,
scared of a little? You're scared of a little brown?
You've been to Arden Vul before, right?
Surface dwellers.
All right.
Goblins.
Can we try this, guys? Can we try this? Like, I guess I'll sacrifice my cloak. It's a mundane cloak. 2 of us, let's drag the cloak across the water and see if the sludge is only on the surface or
Like
if
a
it's
scum.
we're gonna try and skim it.
Yeah, no.
Sure.
Can you guys think of a better thing than a cloak? I can't think of a better thing than a cloak.
Avaricious might have something in that sack.
We've got a barbarian. If the cloak doesn't work, you can just throw me in there. I'll check it out. I don't care.
It's not checking it out. I'm trying to see if there's a way to get the scum off of it.
Do you want to just get in there, Wolford?
Well, okay.
Yeah, I just go in there and spread the top out.
Yeah.
It's just
Okay, so
it's just water.
It's gross. You know what I mean? It's a little bit more viscous than normal water, but it does appear to be that it's not just like a skim on the top. Like the whole thing appears to be thoroughly foul.
Feel around for a drain or something that might be clogged, or a fountain nozzle that's clogged.
Yeah, I get it. I feel around go take my boots off so I can go barefoot and feel around the edges, see if there's like a fountain or something.
So you feel like stone underneath you. It only comes up to let's see. Does it give it depth? It doesn't really. So I guess it'd probably come up to like your mid thigh maybe. As you're kind of wading through, but you don't find anything amiss. One thing that's just a little bit strange, Wolford, is despite how annoyed you are, as you're kind of wading through, it doesn't feel like particularly unpleasant.
It's a mud bath. It's great for your skin.
Yeah. I'm gonna scoop some up and sniff it.
It smells horrible.
It smells bad.
But it's not like Mike was saying, like you would think it'd be sort of like a mud bath, but it doesn't have the consistency of mud. Like it's definitely like runny water, but like completely just brown. You know what I mean?
All right.
I mean,
what did the liturgy say? What did the liturgy say about the cleansing thing?
It said that purification is associated with the present, and your ills are washed away. So I'm wondering if this is like the sludge here is the ills being washed away. They're accumulating somehow.
You said,
sorry, go ahead, John.
Drink the consecrated water, and all ills will be washed away.
I don't know if this water is consecrated anymore. I wonder what happens if we drop a bless on this bad boy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, or if
well, okay. Water, I bless thee, and then I scoop some up and taste it.
the power of faith.
Yeah, it's consecrated and I tasted the water. What's it taste like?
Nice, Wolford. So you throw some down. It smells awful. Up to the point where you suck it down, but the moment it hits your tongue, and it's like one of those weird like dissociative sort of things, because your mind is telling you that your tongue is going to taste what your nose is smelling, right? Like your tongue is prepared for awfulness, right? But it touches your tongue, and it tastes fantastic and clean and pure, like just crisp, cool spring water that just goes down your throat and just you feel fantastic. Are you down any hit points?
Everybody. He was down 1 hit point.
Yeah, you are at full.
Oh,
okay.
Far out.
All those things that make you grouchy and talk like
fine.
Even you can't. You actually can't. You don't feel the need to speak so grouchily anymore. You just feel that good.
He doesn't even know how to play that character.
I don't know how to make him talk without being.
No, I'm not taking away your agency. You can still keep talking grouchy, but you don't feel grouchy though, Wolford.
A bit like Ron Swanson.
You don't know how I feel. Listen, I've got a lot of problems with you, disembodied voice.
Oh man!
Listen here, the water's fine. Stop being a bunch of babies. Have a sip. It's good.
It's Gangrene who needs a sip, but he's busy.
John, I still want to try my cloak idea. So I will wade into the water and just kind of make a net out of the cloak and see if I can drain any of the filth out of it.
No.
Okay. Gross.
The question would be then, if we took out a canteen and filled it, would it still work later?
You know the answer to that, Ted, as well as I do.
I do, but I'm going to try it anyway, and I'll fill a canteen up with it, and I'll try it later and see if it works.
Are you down any hit points?
No, I'm not. But Gangrene is down a bunch.
Go run it up to Gangrene, see if he drinks it, if it has any effect.
Yeah, I think that's what I'll do. It's a good idea. So I'll fill it up. I'll fill up a wineskin and take it to Gangrene. Be like, do me a favor, try this.
Yeah. What you trying to do to me stinks.
Yeah, I know. That cheat said the same thing, and then he said it tasted great. Is he full of crap?
Why are you trying to poison me, boss?
I don't think it's poison. He didn't die. And you're a much tougher goblin.
I ain't drinking that.
Really?
You got to drink some first, Ted.
I'll drink some first.
All right, boss. It's your bowels.
So you suck some down more.
Bowels, Gangrene.
So you also have that dissociative sort of thing whenever you kind of put some onto your tongue. However, it matches up exactly what you expected, and it tastes like absolute shit when it hits your tongue. Yep, and you immediately gag and throw it back up.
All right. Good to know.
Wolfbird laughs his ass off.
And you lose 5 hit points. No.
Yeah, right.
Well, boss, I told you.
You're very wise, Gangrene. Never change.
Okay. And John, so no carvings on the outside of the pool, correct?
No carvings on the lip. Nope.
Okay.
I suspect the frescoes probably had something to say about the liturgy that's associated with this pool, but
Right.
they're damaged, so there's not much we can get out of it, right, John?
No, the frescoes are completely illegible, unfortunately.
Yeah. Okay.
I want to throw a bless on here. I just don't have it memorized.
Remember too that so there was that pillar in the other room, the
Right.
pyramid in the other room as well, and neither the pillar nor the pyramid nor the stone circle had any writing on them.
Right.
Right.
But there was something in the pillar room.
Yes, on the western wall in Mithric, there was a "Thou may ask of Thoth what thou will, provided thou accept his judgment."
Okay.
So there was knowledge and purification and eternal power were the three
Yes. Mm-hmm.
three things.
Those are the three
So
mysteries.
obviously-
The mysteries of Thoth specifically is what those
Right.
are.
So this is clearly the purification room.
Right.
The knowledge associated with the past, that must be the pillar and asking it questions, the knowledge. So
And then it
eternal
said
power and the future is the pyramid.
Because it said that is linked to teleportation.
It did say that. That's right. Okay.
Mhm.
Yep. Okay. That doesn't explain why there's a evil frog inside of it.
Right.
No, it does not. That is a good point, Ted.
Super weird. I was thinking, I think we were originally thinking maybe the frog was like from an earlier stage of construction, but now I'm less sure of that.
Right. Maybe it's trapped there. Maybe if we take this frog statue out, it animates and eats everybody.
That would
So-
solve so many problems.
You just
It's been down
recently
there.
visited the stash, right? You went in there just recently, right?
Yeah. We did.
Okay. So I'll tell you this, because you were able to examine it, like you were just there a short time ago. I'm pretty sure I probably didn't say this the moment that Onweir, I believe, was the first one to discover it, right? So I should have been more clear. That strange oily statue of that salamander thing. It appears. First of all, it's freestanding. It's not on a pedestal or anything like that. But the floor around it is Arcantian. It's like part of the pyramid that was built, right?
Okay.
But it appears quite likely that the pyramid was built around that statue, as in the statue appears to have been built into the stone of the actual physical space, of the cavern that was hollowed out here. You know what I mean? And then the pyramid was built around it, right? So it appears that the statue was there first by
so it does
itself.
predate.
Yeah, it predates, and it looks like the pyramid for some reason was built around the entire thing.
They actually probably couldn't remove it because who else you wouldn't leave that there. You know what I'm saying? You're building a pinnacle of Thothian eternal power, and there's an evil frog statue like right where you want to build. You naturally would try to remove it, but were there any signs of damage or anything else around it, John, to kind of show that they were trying to chip it away? Or
there wasn't,
nothing like that, right?
but it's very resilient for one thing. But it's a good point to bring up, Mike. That leads to another point too, that every area that was Thothian, not necessarily Arcantian, but Thothian specifically, you've never gotten like a bad vibe from. Right. There's been strange things and magic and guardians and all that kind of stuff, but none of them have like given off like a sense of evil, like that statue did, like that the
Obelisk.
the obelisk, the real obelisk, like the one from
The big one,
yeah, the big one, that sort of thing. Like and from Setite stuff, right? You've gotten that kind of really bad juju kind of coming from, but anything Thothian has been neutral at worst, right? Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, there was the dangerous snakes in that one room, but they weren't evil. They were just dangerous.
Right.
Yeah. So it was either here and they couldn't move it, or it could also be a way they were trapping something. But interesting. We might not be using the best place as a stash.
All right. Well,
Your stash appears to be unfucked with.
Well, I mean, it's
yeah.
yeah, that's cool.
So
So
we're
we're gonna eat it.
Nothing's gone bad yet, but the day we bring back this, I don't know, this crazy ring, and we put it in there, and that's the Ring of Salamander release, or who knows, just by bringing it close, and then all hell breaks loose.
Always a chance. So, so it does appear to be that pool is corrupted yet usable. Right. Something. So it might take your brain power to kind of figure out how to purify it in some manner, if should you wish to. Yeah. So that's up to you guys if you want to stick with that little puzzle. But we have about 3 minutes. Is there anything last thing that you want to do, or should we call it here?
I mean, I want to explore to the west. I want to go back to the Tentacle Temple, and I want to go deal with the Scleros thing. And I want to cast Bless on the pool tomorrow, but I don't think any of that stuff we can wait till. Unless we want to just go do a quick rest, I'll memorize Bless, and we can come right back here the next morning. You guys want to do that real quick?
Well, I'm worried. I'm worried about the clock ticking on this Black Snot situation. Right, the more time goes by, like that's something that I want to make sure we don't lose sight of.
Right, but we're not doing that in the next 3 minutes, right?
Nope. 3 minutes. I say Bless.
Well, I mean, if it's that easy, can we
try that, John?
You want to do what?
What time of day? What time of the day is it right now?
It's only about 11:30 or so.
If it's as simple as that, you could, why don't we just bring Avaricios down? He can cast a Bless.
I don't know. Is that something we can do, John? Can we just swap out in media res and just be like, new player?
Not normally, but for this, I will do it because we can just kind of glide over it real quick. So Avaricios, when you kind of come back and you hear from the rest of the group what you want to do, you consecrate it and as best you can, but it doesn't seem to have any sort of. You guys feel great because you guys are all in the area of effect of it, but it doesn't seem to have any effect whatsoever on the color and smell of the water, unfortunately.
Okay. Well, that answers my question. It's not going to be something easy. It's going to be something else.
The fish. Can we use the fish to pour clean water into it?
You grab the fish?
What?
Let's grab the fish.
Why don't we try?
Okay.
Flush it out with magic fish water.
Okay, it's a great thought. You attempt to do that, but that water just kind of disappears into the sludge, unfortunately.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rats.
Yeah, but good thought. Yeah. Okay, so we can call it there. Okay. It seems like your first priority is probably going to be sealing the Beastman thing, right? Like you've kind of been doing this go-between sort of thing. Don't forget too that this is the final piece. If Count Scleros takes it and accepts it, you have sealed you're gonna if he accepts it, right? Yep. You stand to gain a great deal. But both what Count Scleros promised you and what King Wiskinen promised you back when you first met with him, right? So you stand to benefit from both factions, should you wish to play both. Be nice to both, that sort of thing. So just be aware that you don't want to lose sight, your eye in the prize sort of thing, right? You know what I mean? Before you go gallivanting off somewhere else is probably the best course. Not that I'm trying to tell you what to do. You do whatever you want.
Oh, no.
But that is like your big thing in front of you.
Yeah.
So we'll leave it there with the intent to seal the deal with Count Scleros for next time. All right, everybody. Thank you, as always, for watching 3D6 Down the Line, the most criminally underwatched actual play series on the internet. You can help it be a little bit less criminally underwatched if you like and subscribe and pass along the word to all your friends and family and on your socials. That would be fantastic if you could spread the word. And you could even help us further by joining the Patreon and get a lot of really cool benefits, access to our fun and active Discord community. Go check out Feats of Exploration, our one and only published material. It'll help your campaign, I guarantee it. And thanks, as always, to our patrons of the Explorer, Delver, and especially the Conqueror tier. Matt, take it away with our Conquerors.
Yes, special thanks to our Conquerors this week. Cam, Steven, Brad, and Aiden, the Logan family, the Kabrowskis, Declan Koneski, Chad Cartier, Magic Meat Machine, Tom Leary, Phil, G Tokyo Time, Terry Barney, Eric Lawson, Mando NZ, Faisal, James Dewig, Robert Valdez, Grunt, Andrew Schroker, MM, Michael Schilling, Stefano Di Maiolo, the Hex Brawler Twins, Summon Toast, Adam the DM, Jib Cutter, Scott Yearsley, Mech Jack, Kick Maniac, Dire Grew, not Matt, but not least, and the Matts, Matt Mason, Matt Gardner, Matt Koenig, and Matt Young. Thank you all so very much. We really do appreciate your help.
Yes, indeed. Thank
Thanks,
you
guys.
as always, Conquerors. Really appreciate it. Have a great week, everybody, and we will see you next time. Bye, everybody.